Hey everyone, welcome back. So I asked you guys to send in your questions, and you guys sent in your questions. So today I'm going to answer quite a few of them. There are some questions that you folks sent in that I actually think warrant a whole video. Some were really great questions. And there's just more than I can answer in one video anyway, so this might be a two-parter. Certainly, like I said, a couple of the questions are going to be standalone videos because they're so good. You guys are amazing. So let's start with the first one from Cosmic Tarot. You are a long OG viewer, and you always comment, and you always send in the best questions. So thank you. Anyways, Q&A. Have you got any home projects coming up for next spring, summer, maybe? I don't have anything specific. I have really been thinking about, should I put a deck out the front here, the side, the front door side? But I haven't quite figured out what that would look like, and if I even want to do that. But I'd like to do something that would provide a bit more shade on this side of the house, particularly in front of my office window and the big sort of eating bar window, because it gets really hot when in the summer the sun comes around and it beats on this side of the house all afternoon, and it gets pretty hot. So I've been thinking about that, but I haven't made any decisions yet. So I don't have anything planned. We might be working on, well, somebody else's projects. We'll talk about that in a second. So thanks so much for your question. Okay, question number 2, Kathy Frederick King. Kathy Frederick King, 2298. What are my favorite traditions at Christmas time? Well, things have obviously changed a lot since the kids have grown and I have moved away from them. We're no longer always together. There hasn't been a Christmas where I haven't had at least one kid visiting or haven't been able to spend time with both of them when I was back in Calgary. And we certainly had a lot of great Christmas traditions when they were growing up. One of my favorite things in the whole world was taking them to get a picture with Santa. I have pictures with Keaton when he was just a little guy, and then he grew and grew and grew, and then one year suddenly there was this little blob. The younger one, Shiloh, was suddenly just a newborn and is sitting in the crook of Santa's arm. For the longest time, we had the same Santa because we went to South Centre Mall in Calgary and had the same Santa every year. Oh, for so many years. And Santa just looked like he was shrinking because the kids were getting bigger, and Santa just kept looking smaller next to them. So that was really cool. You know, that's my favorite Christmas tradition. And that's the only thing that I would want for Christmas, is to get a picture of them with Santa, either together or individually. Other than that, we have traditions, what we like to watch. We really love to watch certain Christmas movies. A Christmas Story about the little boy who wants the Red Ryder BB gun. That's one of our favorites. I love to watch The Holiday. That's one of my favorites. I like to watch the old Christmas Carol, the black and white one with Alistair Sims. And when the kids were younger, we always watched the Muppet Christmas Carol as well, because that was always so much fun. So there's those sorts of Christmas traditions. Really, it's just about food and spending time with them. That's the most important thing for me. Those are the big ones, though. The kids waking up in the morning and finding their stockings suddenly full, and watching them open some presents, and us playing games, and all of those things. There's not anything that has to happen. It's just who these things are happening with that have always been sort of the big traditions for us. All right, so next question. What's the story behind my Fiesta ware? I'm not drinking from it today. I have 2 Christmas mugs that I use over the Christmas season, one red one and one green one. But normally you will see me holding a Fiesta ware mug. Now, for those of you worried, the mugs that I have are made by the Fiesta company, Fiesta ware company, Fiesta. So they are authentic, but they're not vintage. The vintage ones had a lead glaze on them, and they're not safe to use for eating and drinking out of. But I found those, gosh, I've had those for 25 years, 28 years. I found them in a store on White Avenue in Edmonton, Alberta, fell in love with them, and bought a place setting in every color they had. As you probably guessed from those, I don't like sets that of everything matching. I prefer to have all the colors, and so I bought a place setting in every color, that they bring me so much joy. When I had other dishes, but when I downsized, I got rid of all of the other sets of dishes, and I only have the Fiesta ware, a few other random bowls and things like that. The Fiesta ware just makes me happy. I love retro, vintage, inspired things. In my condo in Calgary, I had a vintage diner table, with the metal legs and the arborite top. And I found a company that made replica diner chairs, and I bought one in each color. I bought a yellow one, a pink one, a red one, and a blue one to have around that table, and I just loved the look, especially when it was set with Fiesta ware. So unfortunately, I couldn't bring the table with me into the tiny house because there was no room for it, but I did sell it to a young lady who was an avid collector of vintage sort of diner style, 40s, 50s sort of style memorabilia, and she sent me a picture of the table and chairs in her kitchen. It was beautiful. It made me very happy to see the table and chairs go to her. So that's the story behind the Fiesta ware. Okay, Pat DeRoic asks, how long did it take me to downsize, and how long did it take me to be financially independent from my ex? So downsizing. I started downsizing long after I got divorced, and so I was already financially independent then. When I became a single mom, it was very difficult. I mean, I was married, and I did leave with some assets and my half of the house, which is what I used to buy my condo with a mortgage. But I used it for the down payment for the condo and a lot of stuff. But I always, I had been working, not in the field that I am now. And when I became a single parent, I worked for, there's a video on the channel of me working for my old boss, that I nicknamed the devil, who's very toxic and very narcissistic. And after 11 years at that company, I realized, of which probably 7 or 8 were as a single parent, I realized I needed to have a job where I could, first of all, get away from that situation and make enough to be able to afford a future for me, for the kids, that sort of thing, even though I was receiving child support. So that's when I went back to school in the evenings and on weekends, and took my designation, and was able to then have the career that I have now. But as far as downsizing goes, it was a process. When I moved into the condo and left my marriage, I still had a lot of stuff. There was still a lot of shit. And so over the years, even in the condo, I was regularly going through and purging, just getting rid of stuff. But it was never really intentional until I decided to buy the tiny house, build the tiny house. And as I was designing the tiny house, it was obviously very clear I couldn't bring everything in. So I just started being very systematic and methodical about it, and going room to room, area to area, and getting rid of things. When it really came down to crunch time, and the condo was sold, the tiny house was built, and I was going to be it was being built, and I still had a couple of months before it was finished, but I was going to be moving into a friend's, downstairs guest room, putting my things in storage. Then I had to be ruthless about it. And so that's when I sold a couple of things, but mostly I donated the majority of things. One to a friend who was leaving a marriage and didn't have very much, so she got a lot. She got my dining room set, she got my bedroom furniture, she got a lot of things. And I just considered that paying it forward for all of the help and kindness that I received when I was going through that period of my life. So, downsizing is a process. It's very difficult to do it all in one shot. And I think you're setting yourself up potentially. Maybe there are some people that can do it, but I think for me, it would have been setting myself up for failure to try and do it all in one sort of chunk. I think you need to pace it out. You need to decide, start with the stuff that's easy to get rid of, and then slowly move to the things that are a bit more difficult, that have more sentimental value, the things you don't really want to get rid of, but you just don't have room for them. And decide what you're going to do. If you're going to sell it, then sell it. Donate it if possible, because there are a lot of people out there who are in situations where they need things and they can't afford them, or they're fleeing bad situations, they're fleeing countries where they've had to leave with just the clothes on their backs. And so there's a lot of places where you can donate your goods that will make a huge difference in somebody's life. And for me, that was more important than making a few bucks off of something. And I didn't want strangers coming to the house. I didn't want to be meeting strangers, that sort of thing. So that was what I did. All right, Dazzle Dust 32. I recently traveled to Salzburg in Austria to see the locations of The Sound of Music. Oh, that's awesome. I'm obsessed with it, with the film. So my question is, what is my favorite film? Oh my gosh, I don't have one favorite film. I have a couple favorite films. Like if I were going to go by category, favorite sort of romantic love story film, You've Got Mail. Hands down, I don't care what anybody says. That is just my favorite. I mean, Meg Ryan, Tom Hanks, best movie, romantic movie ever. There's a lot of good ones, but that's mine. If I had to go scary / horror, and I don't do horror, it would be The Shining. Those are the two that come to mind. I love movies. I love pretty much all movies except for horror movies, because again, I don't want to be afraid to be in my own house. Not that there's a lot of room for anybody to hide in a house this size. But those are the two that come to mind, the two that I will always watch if it's on. Like I say, I love The Holiday. I love, for Christmas, The Holiday, and what's the other one? The one with Hugh Grant. Love Actually is also a great Christmas movie. But as far as just general movies, I think those are the two that are my... Oh, duh, The Lord of the Rings. Not the Hobbit movies. No bueno. I love the books. I've read the Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings 15, 18 times. I can't even remember. Lost count. Probably around 18 or more. But I love the Lord of the Ring movies. They were amazing, and Peter Jackson did an amazing job. So that's that. All right. Speak No Evil, I believe. 022. I believe that's what that says. Are you tired of the rain and the fog? I am this week. Oh my gosh, because we're right in the middle of the atmospheric river that is causing all the flooding on the British Columbia mainland. But we are on the peripheral of it, and it has been raining. There's not been a single day where it hasn't rained in a month and a half. And there's projected to be rain for the next few weeks. It's just that time of year, but it's also intensified because of the atmospheric river. And so, here on Vancouver Island, it rains in the winter. It's beautiful, it's green, and it doesn't snow very often. And when it does, the snow goes away really quick. But you have to deal with the cloudiness, the overcast skies, the gray, and the rain and the damp. And, especially this time of year where it gets dark so early. I can't even go out for my walk after work because I don't live in an area, I live in the country, I don't live in an area where there's street lights. And while I'm not opposed to just grabbing a headlamp and off I go, there have been cougar sightings in the area, and I ain't getting caught by no cougar. It's not the cougar you see that you got to worry about. It's the one you don't see, the one that's hunting you, because the one you see isn't hunting you. So anyways, I digress. No, I am a little tired of it right now. This time of year is always that sort of thing happens. But I'm trying to embrace the coziness of the season. I'm trying to sort of romanticize the, darkness and the Christmas lights and sort of the coziness of it, and, curl up under my electric blankie and read a book or watch a movie or something like that. Because I know it's not going to last forever. We are almost at the shortest day of the year, and then the days will get longer, and the summer's here. Spring comes early, and fall lasts long, and the summers are glorious. So, yeah, I'm tired of it, but it's still worth it. All right, the next question, is kind of tied to the decluttering or the downsizing, I think. It's Heather the Fruit Bat. What a great name. Reflectively, would you have decluttered differently, and do you have any tips? I have ADHD and I'm finding it hard. I totally understand that. I don't have ADHD, but I, both my kids do. And certainly I can understand how it's overwhelming. And what I do know about myself is that when I have a task that's huge or feels huge, it's easy for me to feel paralyzed and then just not start at all. So if I had to do it over again, would I have done things differently? I probably would have started a little sooner. But here's my advice to anybody who is taking on something as monumental as moving, even from my condo was 1,100 square feet to a house that is, just under 400 square feet, and that includes a loft that is just storage. So I would say just one corner at a time, not even one room if that's too much for you, one corner. Just look at one corner of your bedroom and just say, okay, I'm going to set a timer for 15 minutes. Half hour is too long. If you can go past 50 minutes, great, but set your phone timer for 15 minutes and then just be intentional. Go through it, separate it into 3 piles, keep, donate, trash. And then put the stuff that's going to be donated and going to the dump or into the trash in bags or bins by your door or in your car, even better. So that it doesn't just sit there now in piles versus just in a big pile. And do that a couple times a week. Set yourself that challenge. Put some music on, set the timer for 15 minutes. If you feel like continuing after 15 minutes, great. But if you don't feel like you failed. You have achieved your goal. You set your goal of spending 15 minutes focused on that one corner. And that is doable. It's that old saying, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. It's easy to say, I'm going to clean out my closet. I did make this mistake. I was going to downsize my closet because I knew how much room I had here and I knew I had a bunch of stuff I didn't need. And I made the mistake of pulling everything out of my closet. This was in the condo, laying it all over my bed and then realizing, oh my God, this is overwhelming. And, 2 hours into it, I had a headache. I felt frustrated and overwhelmed. And now I still had to deal with this mess. I would suggest not doing that. Do one section of your closet. Do one rack or, rod. Do, the drawers. Do something like that, because what that does is make it manageable, doable, and then you have these small wins that build you up and build momentum for you to continue and start way in advance of you needing to be fully downsized and decluttered, because then you don't feel rushed either. The goal here is for you to succeed. And in order to succeed, you need to create an atmosphere that's conducive to you succeeding. And I believe that doing like tackle your linen closet. Tackle just one thing at a time. Go into one cupboard in your kitchen, maybe a lower cupboard that you keep Tupperware, old plastic margarine containers, all those things that we throw in there thinking we might need. And be ruthless is another a piece of advice I would give. Like, if you haven't used it, if it's not for a special occasion that you will actually have at some point, if it wasn't a gift and has some real sentimental value, because you can deal with those after, and you haven't used it in the last 6 months, get rid of it. Donate it. Give it away. Get rid of it. And you don't need all those old margarine containers and all bottles and jars. Keep a couple if you actually use them. I do use mine to store things because I buy a lot of stuff at the bulk store. But otherwise, get rid of it. And I'm still guilty of that because I still put aside the old sort of margarine containers, yogurt containers aside, and then go in there every once in a while and go, oh my gosh, how come I have 8 of these? I do keep a couple because I like to send food home for Keaton. And he doesn't bring my Rubbermaid or Tupperware containers back. So this way, if I don't get them back, I don't feel bad. But in general, it's sort of an ongoing process. I don't think you're ever finished decluttering because clutter is a part of life. And there's just so much of it coming at us. And I think that is the way to do it. And especially when you have ADHD, because with the music on, often when I see with my kids, they need that sound in order to focus. So they both have a hard time focusing in dead silence. And so having your music on or a podcast on, something like that, and then just setting that one small section that you're going to focus is always, I think, better sets you up for success in doing something that otherwise can be absolutely overwhelming. Believe me, I know. Vanny Home Decor Enthusiast _enthusiast. What's your nighttime routine during winter, and can you make a vlog on it if possible? I'm assuming, do you mean like my home routine or my skincare routine, that sort of thing? And my home routine is pretty calm, pretty boring. I like boring, don't get me wrong. I'm a big fan of boring because boring is low stress. So when it comes to bedtime, I will always, what I think of as close up for the night. If you've ever worked in a restaurant or fast food place or anything like that, there's always those things that have to be done before you can close up. And I approach, I just do it instinctively. I always approach it that way. So I just hate waking up in the morning and having dishes in my sink, dirty dishes. And I don't have a dishwasher. So I make sure I've washed all my dishes. And I get my coffee ready for the morning. And I tidy up the living room and just sort of tidy things up so that when I get up in the morning and come down here, it looks nice. It looks welcoming. It doesn't look like a mess. Because then that starts my day feeling stressed, right? Now I'm like, oh my gosh, there's dishes on the counter, there's dishes in the sink, or the couch is all messed up, all that sort of stuff. For me, that's how I approach the end of the day. And then as far as personally, I never go to bed with my makeup on. I always wash my face at night, and I always do my skincare routine. I put on, a couple of serums, and then a good heavy moisturizer, some Vaseline around my eyes, under my eyes, and, some lip balm, and I'm good to go. Okay, plans for 2026, sort of general plans. Zia at Chasing the Moon RV, hi my friend, asks, have I set any specific goals for myself or things I plan to focus on in 2026? Inquiring minds want to know. Well, I will set some goals. I don't do New Year's resolutions. Those of you guys that have been here for a long time know that. I sort of set a theme for the year and then some goals that go along with the theme, and specific sort of things that I want to do in each of those goals. I haven't really thought about it. There's been a lot happen this year that I hadn't planned for or didn't foresee, that have changed some of my plans going forward, at least short term. And so I haven't really thought about it yet. I have time off over Christmas. My last day of work is the 22nd, so I'm off from the 23rd and back at work on the 5th of January. So I'm going to take some time to, think about it and sort of work that through, maybe do some journaling and think about what I want for 2026. Because, the thing about life is it's never a straight line. And with all the things that have happened in the year that at the beginning of 2025 I didn't foresee or anticipate or plan, I need some time to digest and see, how did I do with my theme for 2025, which was care more about some things, the things that matter, and care less about the things that don't. I think I've done really well with that one, by the way, but we're going to do a recap. We'll do a recap. But we'll see what the theme for 2026 will be. But 2026 does feel like a pivotal year, and how that will play out, stay tuned. Okay, so this last section we'll do real quick. It's just to do with kids and sort of family-ish sort of stuff. So from Red's Gal 21, Sin C 16. I apologize if this is too soon to ask, but are you considering getting another pet sometime in the future? I will get another pet. I can't have a dog here. I'll definitely get another cat. I haven't decided. Here's the thing. Not having a cat means that I can up and go whenever I want without having to arrange, for my neighbor to cat sit. Not that that was a big deal, because I would cat sit for her cats as well. And I don't want to get another animal, a companion animal, without really having time to think about it. I've thought a lot about, do I want to adopt an older cat from a shelter? That, to me, is likely what's going to happen. But there's this little part of me, too, in the back of my mind that says, a cat's going to find me. I'll be out for a walk, I'll be out for a drive, and the cat distribution system will bring one to me. And I can't help but thinking, for some reason, that that's going to happen. So for sure it'll happen. It will happen when it's supposed to. It's definitely going to happen. I just don't know when. All right, Stevie Moore. Okay, so you asked two questions, and I'm going to answer your first one in a standalone video, I believe. So, because it was such a good question, but I'm going to answer your second one now. So your second paragraph is, one of my favorite videos of yours was when you and Keaton did an eggnog tasting. Yeah, it was one of mine as well. Hilarious to say the least. I was wondering if you had anything else that you would like to try. It would be lovely to see both your children participate with their mom. Thank you. Well, Shiloh's quite camera shy, as you probably have noticed. So I doubt you'll see a full video with them in there. But Keaton, not so camera shy, loves the camera. I love doing videos with Keaton because he's so gregarious, he's so energetic, he's so, as an introvert, you would never guess he's an introvert because he can be so outgoing. So he's an outgoing introvert like I am. I think of Keaton as, Tigger from Winnie the Pooh. He literally bounces. He's just so energetic and gregarious when he's on. But then he needs a couple of days to recharge, just like his mama does. Anyways, yeah, definitely going to do some other videos with him because he is now here on the island. And yeah, you know what? I hadn't thought about doing another taste review video, but that's a really good idea. And we'll have to think about what we're going to do. Working around his work schedule, because he does work and he doesn't get Saturdays and Sundays off like I do. And so we'll sort of see how we can fit that in. But maybe over the Christmas holidays, if he's got a couple of days off, maybe we'll see. So yeah, but that's one of my favorite videos too. That one and the one where he asks me questions. He interviews me. That was a good one as well. Oh, did I get all of those? Yes, I did. Okay. Noemi Rivera. Sorry, I think I got Noemi right. Dash M9Y. Did Keaton get his tiny home and move by you? I thought this is what you said. Is that correct? Also, did Shiloh come to visit? I love your videos. I don't care if you're just drinking coffee and chatting. Well, I love those the videos of us just having a coffee and chatting together as well. Yes, I'll answer the second one first. Yes, Shiloh did come. They came for their birthday in the last week of November, because their birthday is November 26th. We had a great visit. It was very nice to see them. They don't get time off at Christmas because of work. They're sort of like the last hired, so they kind of have to work. Some of the other people that have been there longer get, more days off. I don't believe they work Christmas or Boxing Day. I don't think the clinic is open then, but they, will be working. So I'm not going to see them at Christmas. They'll be with their dad though, so that will be good, and probably heading down to visit Grandma and other family at the farm, or actually in Leduc. Yes, Keaton did move to the island. His tiny home is a fifth wheel trailer, and he is 2 down. He's not next door, but the spot after that, and he's all settled in. And we're going to be doing a little bit of work around his place, I think, this summer. We did a little work on it already just to get things ready for winter and such here. So, yeah. Gardner_K. Has Keaton settled nicely into his new home? Yes, he has. Thank you for asking. I bet you love having him close. Oh, yes, I do. I miss your living in a tiny home type vlogs. I would love to see a day in the life or other such vlogs of daily living in your tiny home. Yeah, you know what? I would like to do that as well. It's been a really busy time for me, getting everything, just with him coming and with work. Lots of stuff has been going on in my personal life. Nothing bad, but just lots of stuff. And so I haven't done that. But you know what? It is time to do a vlog. And with time off at Christmas, maybe I will do that. Right? I'll have lots of time to do it. I could do like a full day. Because doing a vlog on a work day isn't interesting for you guys. It's me getting up, making my coffee, getting ready, sitting at my computer. Yeah, I'm sure that's the same for so many of you. You don't need that in a vlog, but I would like to do more vlogging, definitely. Miss Katie asks, I'm sure you're over the moon about one of your children moving close by, but prior to that, did you have any regrets about moving? Any chance of your other child moving too? Yeah, you know what? It was very difficult. I'm not going to say it was easy to leave Calgary and leave both of the kids, because it was difficult. We're very, very close. The Three Musketeers. I raised them on my own since they were 4 and 10. And they are now 32 and 26. So, yeah, it's been, it was difficult to make that decision. But I also knew that you raise your kids to go out and live their lives, and who knows where they're going to end up. It was time for me to do something for myself, and it's not that far, right? Literally the flight is less than 2 hours and not super expensive, and you could drive here in a day and a half. So it's not like it's far. And I go to Calgary sometimes for work. And they had been coming to visit me. So yeah, it was difficult, but it was the right thing to do because it was always something I planned to do, and they were very, very, very supportive of it. Now that Keaton's here, obviously that's awesome. He's wanted to move to the island for a very long time. Has not liked living in a big city like Calgary for quite a long time. I think it really aggravates his ADHD and really stresses him out. And Shiloh is definitely starting to feel that way as well. I would not be surprised to see Shiloh out here in the next few years. Not right away. They've just settled into their career. They need to sort of build some time working, steadily and such. But they would have skills that would allow them to find a decent job here. And so, and they want to. They love the island as well. So I wouldn't be surprised to see them here in, maybe 2027, 2028, who knows, right? Obviously, I didn't anticipate Keaton being here either this quickly. So we'll see. But definitely, I'm glad one of them is here, and maybe one day they'll both be here. Well, my friends, that's all the questions I'm going to answer today, because this video is already really long. I do have more questions from you that I'm going to answer. And like I said at the beginning, there's a couple of questions that you guys asked that blew my mind and definitely deserve their own standalone video. So that's fantastic, because that's given me ideas for videos for the future. So yeah, I'm going to make a part 2, which I appreciate you guys asking the questions, because this time of year is so busy with work and everything else that it's nice to do the Q&As, because they're easier. I'll be fully transparent. They're easier than doing other videos, because there's just sitting here having a chat, which actually a lot of my videos are just sitting here having a chat, aren't they? Well, it's coffee with a friend, which I think we all enjoy, so that's okay too. Anyways, so I hope you guys are doing well, whether you celebrate Christmas or what other holiday you celebrate. I hope you have a fantastic one that brings you peace. And if you have people that you love to share it with, even better. But remember, in a world where you can be anything, be kind, including to yourself. I love you, and I'll see you next time.